Well, I've lived in Campbell County my entire life, from Silver Grove to Newport to Alexandria to Claryville. And, I want to make a difference. I know that I can make a difference. Been involved with the fire service, so really public and private sectors. I'm a retired battalion chief from the Airport Fire Department. I'm a vice president of a private sector industrial contracting and engineering group. And I've done quite a bit of work in the charitable side, from the care mission, South County, to the counties that mission serves, to expanding right care through the Covington Scottish Rite, to where we now have a center in Cold Spring. We've added centers in Ashland and Prestonsburg for speech and language services for children in need. So I feel that I have the combination of experience on both sides and education to help move this county forward, to certainly provide a day-to-day leadership presence in county government. Now, that being said, there's some specifics to that, and I certainly want to concentrate and rid our county of the heroin epidemic. Combined with that is job creation. And what I mean by that is, we have an industrial base that is largely underserved. It's a small footprint of its former self. And I think there's a lot of development. We've got a lot of good things to offer with river, road, and rail capabilities from our river cities. We've got great opportunities in the middle part of the county by using NKY for not only just professional services, technical services, but also looking at developing a nursing home industry in Campbell County by using the nursing program here and using that as a feeder. And not transferring nursing home beds out of our county, but keeping them here to provide a good service and to provide jobs. I also believe that we need to look at restructuring the regional taxing authorities like SD1 Tank. Certainly the airport board is going to need some work. But I believe that having lived here the whole time, having worked in this area, having seen over the course of many years where the jobs are, where they are not, and what the capabilities that we have in Campbell County, and putting Campbell County first is really why I'm running, and certainly to showcase NKY. I'll take a moment to do that, because unless you drive by Highland Heights and see the sign, you wouldn't know it's there. So I think we need to put some more recognition of NKY and what it offers, because I think that will attract businesses. If they know that we have a place for them, they know that we have an educational system that will feed it, and they know that they're not coming into an area where there's a heroin epidemic, I think we can do that very successfully and change and improve the course of this county. Well, first of all, I'm not a career politician. This is the only office that I've ever sought out to be elected to. I have no other aspirations for any other office. I love this county. I'm from this county. I live in this county. I want to make a difference in this county. And looking at it as a comparison, I also don't want to stay in the job for any length of time either. I've made a commitment through various speeches and teletown halls that I will not seek more than 3 terms. And my philosophy on this, I think, is different from my opponents. I want to make a difference. I want to leave it better than I found it, and then I want to move on. I want to cultivate younger leadership behind me that can take the county to the next level. I believe I have a better program to address the heroin epidemic, because both of my opponents are in office, and it's not effective. What's being done is not effective to take care of the problem in Campbell County. In fact, we're talking about opponents in the plural sense. This is a primary. This interview is being done right before the primary. I've got one opponent until May 21st, or until May 20th, and then on May 21st, I'm hoping to have another opponent. So I'm trying to put this into some perspective where folks out there will understand that. But certainly, it's not a career. It's not a career path. I just want to make a difference and contribute. I think I can. I think I have a better plan for job creation. I certainly would not vote against a tax decrease in the county when we're talking about, the assessment rates. That is something we always need to be looking for, even if it's up to a vote, even if we think that we have the percentage nailed down to a T. When things come up last minute, if we have an opportunity to decrease that tax, I don't want to stifle that. I want to encourage that, because there are different ways and better ways to do things. I also do not agree with transferring nursing home beds out of our county. I think they need to stay here. The simple case that someone, or one opponent in particular, made the comment that Boone County needs them more. I'm not running for Judge Executive of Boone County. I'm running for Judge Executive of Campbell County, and I want those beds to stay here. I also want more transparency, and I have a plan, I believe, for better transparency with the problems that we're having with some of the regional taxing authorities. The most common is with ST1. I think putting the right appointees on those boards and commissions that are under the direction of what I am intending them to do will provide the transparency and the accountability that our taxpayers want and deserve. And with all that combined, I think I have a better plan to improve the way of life for businesses and taxpayers and citizens of our county. Well, I have two, and they're called the day one priorities because they've been that way for a year now, and they're not going to change, and that is heroin and job creation. And I want to talk about heroin first. Campbell County from 2011 to 2012 had the largest overdose fatality rate of any other county in the state, and that is completely unacceptable. Any death is unacceptable, especially when it's preventable. And we need to look at things, first of all, such as prevention and education, things that we can keep in the long term to keep the awareness level up of heroin so that we keep it out of the county. And by doing that, we want to look at educating our elementary, middle school, and high school teachers on what to look for. What are the aspects of this disease and of this abuse that they need to be aware of when dealing with children, parents, visitors to the school, things such as that. Allowing police searches at school hours, vehicles, public events, to make sure that folks know that there's a 24/7 effort to eliminate heroin. And let's face it, in places where we have public events, regardless if it's a school or not, when we have those kind of statistics in this county, chances are it's infiltrating and affecting our schools. And we need to help them because they're going to be the major educational element to where the kids are going to be taking this information home. So that's the first element. Second element is certainly on the legislative side, and I completely support Senator Katie Stein's efforts to increase the charges against drug pushers that sell to addicts where the overdose becomes a fatality and that drug pusher is charged with murder. I think that's the right way to go. I think that sends the message because people are unaware of how a recovering addict gets into society, and then there's a pusher there eager to do that. There is an intent to do them harm, and I think the law needs to reflect that. Furthermore, there's some work going on by the legislature to allow Narcan to be prescribed and given to families of recovering addicts. And my role as a battalion chief, I was also a paramedic for 15 years. I've used Narcan in the field. I know it works. Is it a final answer? No. Full recovery is the final answer. But if it's a decision between giving that family Narcan where they can administer that to that person that's in their household lying on the floor versus in a body bag, I want to give them the Narcan. I have kids that have peanut allergies, and we carry around EpiPens. To me, it looks the same thing. It's a potentially fatal situation, and if we can give these families something to fight that, then I think we ought to be doing that. I certainly support that legislation. The third element being enforcement. The police / law enforcement community in Northern Kentucky, and even in Campbell County, I'm not saying they're doing a bad job. They need help. We need to do a better job. And, I want to have a special narcotics chief that will worry about Campbell County, that will incorporate the DEA, because we're not allowing the feds to come in my opinion, to really help. They're the experts. I think we need to work with them. We need to have a cooperative agreement. We need to have everybody working for the same goal to eliminate heroin from the county from the enforcement standpoint. I would also be asking prosecutors to look at always requesting maximum penalties and sentences, because once people know that it's unfriendly to do heroin in Campbell County, they're going to go somewhere else, and that's the whole idea. Finally, treatment. We don't have enough treatment beds in Northern Kentucky, let alone Campbell County, and I would work with any foundation or even private sector to put in a treatment center in Campbell County. In fact, I would be willing to float industrial bonds, provided we could jump through all the legal hoops to do so, to incorporate a private sector treatment facility in Campbell County. It brings jobs and it answers the treatment solution. The last item for the priorities is job creation. If you look at the triad map just recently released, there was 21 jobs in Northern Kentucky, and Campbell County had 1. And I don't think that's acceptable. I think we have plenty of an industrial base from Silver Grove, Melbourne to Newport, Wilder, to put industrial companies into this county with good paying jobs. We have a great 27 corridor from Cold Spring, Highland Heights, all the way to Alexandria, where we can put in professional and technical jobs. And that is the key to reducing the taxpayer burden by increasing the number of taxpayers but at the same time providing a county where you can live and work. And finally, on that note, I'm a big advocate of ag tourism, ecotourism. I've been working with Agriculture Commissioner Jamie Comer. We've had this discussion about putting the Kentucky Proud label, making it a little bit different where it's unique to a county. So I want to see a Campbell grown Kentucky Proud label. I want to see a farm to table restaurant community in Campbell County, because we've already got our cattlemen and our wineries. If we can introduce something like freshwater prawns, is kind of an idea I have. It's been successful in Kenton County. I think we can bring that farming community more closely knitted to where they even provide their own industry. And all those together yields a better economy for Campbell County, which makes a better economy for the region. Well, certainly my belief on the region, I look at like a chain, and that's kind of the analogy I want to use. It's only as strong as its weakest link. And by improving Campbell County, which I think is its weakest link, is going to improve the region. Now, that being said, we got to have more transparency and accountability in the regional taxing authorities. We have to have better control of the airport board. I'm not necessarily convinced that it needs to be a Kenton County airport board. It needs to be a regional authority. And I would not have a problem at all giving that money of the value of that airport back to the taxpayers of Kenton County to spread that ownership out to a true regional ownership with voting rights. I don't want to put a board member on the current Kenton County Airport Board. Doesn't have voting rights. I think that's a waste of their time, and I don't think it's given the airport correct input from somebody that can vote that actually may know what they're talking about. I think probably above everything else, if we as a region, and I'm going to go back to heroin, if we as a region cannot deal with heroin, nothing else matters. No business, and I've said this before, is going to want to come to Campbell County, let alone Boone County, Kenton County, or anywhere in this region if we cannot show that we control heroin. Now, we can talk about job placement, education, and all the types of infrastructure systems, but we got to have ourselves connected to where each county is getting rid of the heroin problem. That being said, the regional authorities have to be matching with the comprehensive plans of the county. The comprehensive plans of the county have to be in sync with the adjacent counties, so everyone knows where we're going to be at in 5, 10, 15, and 20 years, so that we are certainly preparing for the future, and we're not operating and making decision on lagging indicators. We're making decision on leading indicators, and certainly I will work with the other judge executives to make sure that happens. And you know, my only requirement is going to be that they understand that I'm the judge executive of Campbell County, and my taxpayers and citizens have to come first. Certainly there's a level of cooperation where there's give and take. I just want to make sure that when we look at that triad map and there's 21 jobs out there and only one of them are in Campbell County, that the other counties understand the inequality of that particular illustration, which is current. It was just released. And we want to be able to change that back to where Campbell County gets its share. Well, we will have our hands around and be managing the heroin epidemic. I don't know what the years will take. This is not a short-term problem. It requires a long-term solution. But certainly the effects of heroin will be less. Citizens will see full transparency and accountability of our taxing authorities, both in the county and in the region. From my perspective, the things that I have control over. For instance, we won't see empty tank buses running around various areas of the county. They'll be focused on where the need's at. We will also have more jobs in the county. And really, what I want folks to be able to see after the first 4 years is that we will see a county where there are more people living and working in Campbell County. And that will be the focus. And our focus on Campbell County will certainly lead to the regional success, but I think we'll see remarkable improvements in those areas.